Okay, we're underneath a 2001 Buick Lesabre with the 3.8 Series 2 in it. We're going to do a spill and fill in the transmission. We're going to drop the pan, put a new filter in, and refill it. It says in the book it takes 7.4 quarts of the Dexron 3. So we're going to go ahead and just start loosening up the fasteners around the transmission pan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the ones in the back first. So that way I can get like a controlled drain here. I'm going to start, these are a 10 millimeter. Now we don't have the vehicle very high, so it is a little tight, but we just got it on some plastic ramps here. Just going to start slowly cracking these loose here. See here. They're not very tight. They're just tight when you're laying at this weird angle. Basically, I'm just going around. I'm undoing about 2 or 3 threads each, and then I'll separate the back ones further, loosen them even further so it'll drain more towards the rear of the pan. Like I said, more or less just to get a controlled drain here to keep it from making as much of a mess, because this can make a serious mess here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these back ones. I got them all cracked loose the whole way around here. Should have grabbed a magnetic dish. I gotta take out this thing too. Make sure those don't get lost over there, Josh. Tighten the front ones up just a tad because they're starting to leak when I want it to leak from the back. There we go. Now I can feel my fingers. Definitely not one of the more comfortable jobs to do when you're laying on the ground, that's for sure. Okay. Now we'll probably end up reusing the gasket on here. It's the original factory gasket. I believe it's a steel gasket, so it's got rubber on the outside to seal, but on the inside it's got like aluminum or steel in it that crushes, and it's a lot better than the aftermarket rubber gaskets that come with the filter kits, unless you get like a genuine AC Delco one. Let's see here. Feeling this. Gotta be getting close here. Oh, I got one there still. Up one there. Thinking this has been off before because they don't seem very evenly snugged down. Like those are all up. There's one there. This one's probably gonna be the one that starts the real leaking. Okay, stay. Yeah, there, got it. Saved it. All right. Now, if we can just get it all in here, it's in good shape. I may need you to get another pan, Josh. It's running. All right, so got the pan down. Little dramatic, got the oil all over the place, but that's why you have to have a couple pans under there. So once you get it down, it drops down. Now, I've already started to clean this off camera a little bit, just using some brakes parts cleaner. The gasket, you want to try to keep this, if it's the original, as long as it's not already leaking, you want to try to keep it. Like I was saying before, the originals are a lot better, like a steel gasket versus the one that they give you at the auto parts. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use this plastic Rolex wheel on this angle grinder. I'm just going to clean up some of the rust on the end of the pan. Good enough. So I'm going to just hit it with some of this brake clean here, kind of clean off any excess dirt or friction material. Let that soak for a minute. a flathead screwdriver, so I'll be right back. Carefully pry this magnet out of here and clean it off. What the magnet's for is to catch any of the big metal particles or friction material, keep it from going back into the transmission. Make sure that's good and clean. Set that aside. Dump this into this container. It's real important too to have the gasket meeting area clean too. It avoids any debris from getting in there and causing it to leak. Like if there's a chunk of dirt or a chunk of metal or something that can cause it to leak. The gasket won't be sitting flush. So let's go over that a couple of times here with this. Nice thing about brake cleaners, it evaporates quickly, so it'll get dry quickly so you can get back to putting it back together quicker. Alright, now I'm going to flip it over here and just clean the bottom part of the pan. Now this part I'm not going to go crazy on painting with any kind of grinder wheel or anything. Trying to get some of the excess fluid off of it so that when I go to handle it and put it back up on the transmission, I don't get covered in fluid here. This pan's a little rustier than what I've seen. I think a lot of that might be due to the fact that this vehicle, I think, previously sat a lot. Now, if you really want to go the extra mile and sand this all up and paint it and protect it, you can do that, but I'm not really going to get into all that today. Got a new rag. I'm going to hit this one more time just to make sure I don't have any debris, because you don't want any debris in here. Just get a little bit of fluid in there. And your pan, before you put it up, should look like this. You don't want it to have anything on it. Okay, so I'm going to set this over the side, and then we're going to clean up the gasket. So I think the easiest way to do that is just get some brake cleaner on the rag here, and it nice and saturated, and we're just going to go clean this gasket up. Get any dirt off it. If there's still fluid on it, that's okay. It's just don't want any dirt or rust on it. I want it to make a nice clean fit. Rags are falling apart on me. Grab a regular shop rag here. Trying to figure out what was around that cat's head. I think that's supposed to be on there. One of those cones. Sure this gasket's in good shape, and it looks all right. I just want to hit it with some more cleaner here. Sure somebody's gonna be jumping out of their seat right now because I just sprayed brake cleaner into the air onto the ground. That's what YouTube is good for. Alright, this one looks pretty good. I think we're going to be able to get away with reusing this without any problems, so that's good. Should make a good seal. Now they try to tell you shouldn't really use these type of shop rags that I'm using to for the inside of the actual transmission pan there, because this material of the rag can get into the actual different orifices and areas of the transmission, especially into the solenoids, and actually cause them to clog up and cause fluid restraints. But I'm just using on the outer gasket, and I'll make sure there's nothing on it. Okay, so now what we can do, take our clean pan, we're going to realign our gasket here and basically just have it lined up and ready to go. Get all the bolt holes lined up, and we're going to go one last time, make sure no dirt or debris in here. Definitely can't emphasize enough about making sure this is clean in here. And make sure our magnet's clean, reinstall it. It goes over here in this little section. That will keep it clean. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to get a clean shop rag, and we're going to go back underneath the vehicle, and I'm going to clean up the area on the bottom of the transmission. The filter I took out, which I have under there, I'll probably show you that later on. Let me get you the part number for the new filter here so you can see what it is. Part number for the new filter, this is the CarQuest from Advanced Auto. This is what we're using today. It comes with the filter as well as the gasket, but we're reusing this gasket because I prefer them, like I said. This is your filter here. You can go ahead and open that up because we're going to be reinstalling that soon. Now the filter comes with this ring on here, which is what you use to put it up inside the transmission. Now the problem with these is getting the old ones out of the transmissions. This is like the seal, and it looks like they put it right on there. So I'm going to try to carefully get that back off there. I'm just going to reuse the one that's already inside the transmission for pure simple fact that getting these out can be really difficult. They can also be difficult putting it back in there. So if yours is still good and pliable, just reuse yours, because you'd have to use like a socket and tap it up into the transmission. So I'm going to go off video, just take this off, and then see if I can show you what it looks like underneath the transmission.
Alright, we just went ahead and installed the new filter. That would be this part right here. Got it pushed up into place and ready to reinstall the pan, wipe down the seal area. So just got to get the pan and get it back on there.
Okay, so right now I'm doing the fun part of trying to line up the gasket with all of the holes, the bolt holes. Now I'm going to try not to move it too much and go under it. And I got to get a fastener, which is all the way down here by my feet. Bring them in. These are 10 millimeter, just in case anybody's wondering. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. All right, we got the mating surface cleaned up. I'm basically just going to go something like that. Try to line these back up here and start threading them in. Usually if you get one on each side, kind of get everything held in place. Like so. That will usually keep everything from bouncing around too much on you. So now I can grab my, now I'm not sure what the actual torque spec is on this, but sure you can Google search it. I'm just going to run them down until there's, all right, I'm just going to run these down until they stop, and I will go around by hand and hand tighten them until they feel snug. This will speed up the job here. Make sure that's started good. Okay. a hole around here somewhere. There it is. Can't find the hole, guys. Got that one. Alright, just clean these bolts down with brake clean. Just obviously to get any dirt on, but also because it makes it easier to grip them. Because once you take them off, they're all covered in transmission fluid, so it makes it a little difficult to grip them. It's a good idea to start these by hand anyway, because this is only screwing into aluminum, so you don't want to tear up the aluminum threads. Like Josh said in a previous clip, was basically the filter. There's already, when you pull the filter straight down, there's no fasteners holding it up. You just got to kind of twist the filter side to side and just carefully pull it down. And once it comes down, more fluid will come out of it. And you'll see the orifice that it actually goes into. There's going to be a rubber, it's going to be like a metal O-ring in there, and it has rubber on the inside. Now, I actually replaced the one on this, but they can be a little difficult sometimes to replace because they get hard. You can't get them out of the transmission. And then you got to sit there and use something to try to pry them out. Alright, we're down to our last 2 bolts here, so it should be coming up soon here. Right there. There's the last one back here. Find it. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to go around. Like I said, for now, I'm just going to run it down with this just to get them tight. And then I'll go around and do them by hand. That way you can feel better with your hands how tight they really are. Okay. Now, I can use my socket wrench. I'm going to go around and just feel how tight they are by hand. That should be good. I should do it in a crisscross pattern, but usually I just do it this way with this type of stuff because the pan seems to, being it's aluminum, it's slightly flexible. I think it should be alright if you just go around. I'm not really, like I said, really torquing them. I'm just going until it stops, basically. It's a lot easier when you have this up on a lift, I'll tell you that. Alright, we're back to where we started. So just going to reach around, make sure everything is good. And now we can go up top and start filling it up. Alright, we're just picking up where we left off. So we got the pan button back up again. Tighten that all down. Like I said, hand tight. You could probably go on Google, look up the torque for it. It might even be in your owner's manual, but I'm not sure if it would be in or not. The fluid I chose to go with, this is made by Wolfshead. It's the Dexron 3-H. The difference between Dexron 3 and Dexron 3H is the H just was come out in 2003. Has a little bit later, more updated additive package. It's supposed to be a little bit better for the transmission. So it is backwards compatible. So it says 7.4 quarts. It's about what I think I got out of it, depending on if there was anything left over in my catch pan from the last oil change I did when I dumped it back out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 6 quarts in. I'm going to start it, sit it down, run it through the gears, and I'm going to check it again. So we're just going to go ahead and dump in. This is the 2nd quart I'm putting in now. And you just put it right down the dipstick tube. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in the remaining 5 quarts here, and then like I said, after I do that, I'm going to check it, and then I'll see if I need to add the last 1.5 quarts, because not all of the fluid comes out when you do this. There's still a lot of fluid remaining inside the torque converter and above the valve body, so this will at least get you to a point. Now I do want to advise caution on this. It's not always a good idea to do a transmission fluid change, especially if you don't know the history of the vehicle. Like if you don't believe that it's ever been done before and you have a lot of miles, sometimes it's best just to leave it alone, because if you go and change the fluid, the friction material that's inside the fluid that builds up from the worn out clutches might be what's actually keeping your transmission from slipping. So if you go and you do a change like this at high miles, especially if it hadn't been done on regular intervals, you're taking a risk of actually causing a problem with your transmission. So I don't totally know the history on this vehicle. We've only had it, what, I think 1.5 years maybe, if that. What do you think we've had it for? 1.5 years, Josh?
1 year and a month-ish.
About 1 year and a month, okay. We bought it off a friend. It has 104,000 on it now. Now the fluid in it looks like to me the fluid didn't look like it was original. It was dark, but it wasn't any darker than any other car that would be around 40 or 50,000 miles would be. So that's why I went ahead and did decided to do the drain and flush and put the new filter in it. Like I said, mostly because the fluid didn't look that bad. It was just dirty looking. It didn't smell burn or anything. So I think we should be fine with this. And probably another 30 or 40,000. I'll just do it again, and that should get most of the fluid cycled out. So, like I said, we're using the Wolf's Head Dexron 3. I believe you can even go up to the Dexron 5, which I believe is a full synthetic that was used in like the 06 and up, possibly 05 and up transmissions, and the Hydromatic transmission 4-speed automatics that they use on the 3.8 Series 3, for an example. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up on this, and then I'll pick back up here in a couple minutes and show you the checking the fluid, running it through the gears, and show you the last remaining procedure. So, all right, I put about 6.5 quarts in it, so now I'm going to check it. I was letting it run. We ran it through all the gears. We're going to go ahead and check it and just see where it's at. All right, it's showing up on the dipstick. The problem is it's hard to see it because there's still a lot of fluid in the tube, so you almost have to wait for the fluid to drain down through the tube to be able to get an accurate reading. It looks nice and clean though. Also going to have to wait until it gets warmed up completely too. Okay, so it is at the add point. Definitely can put the next 1/2 quart in it, and then I'm going to check it again. And that should put us at 7. I don't want to overfill it, but I also don't want it to be underfilled either, so. That's officially 7 quarts. So we're gonna let that drain down in there for a couple minutes, let it run and warm up some more, and then we'll check back with you guys in just a second. Let some of that fluid go down the tube so I can get a better accurate read. Got the mum's short. We got the mirror looking at the back seat. All right, we're just gonna go around the block a couple times just to get the transmission warmed up, so that way we can do an accurate level of fluid check here. To run through all the gears. Notice that wobble wasn't there? Yeah, you want to get it up to operating temperature. Really don't want to beat on it and get it like overheated. Just warmed up so you can get a nice accurate level on there.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't say anything. You're supposed to say, like, action.
You hear the ding.
Anyway, so, actually I can, not over the engine. Anyway, so I'm going to get our drive around. It's up to operating temperature. Letting it idle. I'm just going to check the fluid again here and try to see where we're at here. You can't really see it because it's so clean, but that's a good thing. So I'm going to clean off the dipstick. Check it again here. Sure we're all the way up to the full mark. I would say another half a quart should put us right about where we should be, which is exactly the... Now, so we're going to put a half a quart in there. That will put us at about 7.5 quarts, which is 7.4 is what it says it needs, which is pretty accurate. Pretty much right on. So I'm just going to do a half quart. Let's see here, a little bit more. A hair more. That should be perfect. We're going to check again in a minute. We'll let that fluid drain down through the tube, and we'll have an extra half a quart left over to top off, just in case we need to top it off at a later date. So I should check it in a day or two, just to make sure it looks alright still, level. Okay. That's about right on the full line there, so it's right below that hole, so I might actually add just a little bit more, just a pinch more, but that should be right on the money now. Alright, that should be perfect. I'm going to put this away for later. Okay, it is right on the line. I don't know if the camera's even going to pick that up or not, but it's right there at that top hole, which is right at the max line. And so we're good. So, like I said, it's your 2001 Buick Lesabre, 3.8 Series 2. Drop the transmission pan, replace the gas or the filter. I reuse the gasket because, like I said, I prefer the original factory gasket if it's still in good condition. And cleaned out the pan, cleaned off the magnet, and then refilled the transmission with the Dextron 3, and filled it up to I put 7.5 quarts, said 7.4, so I'd say that's close enough. So thanks for watching, guys.